Hi, my name is Dr.Raul Enad from Cadenza Medical Clinic, Ave Maria, Florida. We're going to talk about detoxification in a holistic way. Do you know that there is a natural way of detoxifying your body from the brain, kidney, liver, and your soul? Meditation is the key. So watch until the end so that I can give you the details of how you do it. But first, let me identify, for example, the brain, how you can accumulate toxins in your brain. When you're sleep deprived, or when you're stressed, when you're thinking so much, preparing for an exam, preparing for a performance, or having daily worries in life, that accumulates reactive oxygen species or oxygen radicals in the brain, especially in the mitochondria of each neuron that is responsible for the transmission of information and processing of thoughts. So when you're sleep deprived, you are depriving yourself of the regenerative mechanism that the brain is endowed with. There is a lymphatic system that is affected. The lymphatic system is a specialized waste clearance system in the brain. It removes the metabolic waste, including the beta, amyloid, and tau proteins. These are the primary proteins or the waste proteins that accumulates in the brain and associated with Alzheimer's disease or dementia. When you're sleep deprived, this reduces the clearance of the proteins, the toxic proteins, leading to the accumulation of neurotoxins, increasing the risk of neurodegenerative disease such as Alzheimer's or Parkinson's. Or sleep induces astrocyte shrinkage, allowing cerebrospinal fluid to flush out the toxins from your body through the lymphatic system. Sleep loss prevents this shrinkage and reducing waste clearance, contributing to cognitive decline. That is the reason why when you're sleep deprived and you're stressed, especially at the end of the day, your brain is impossible to function. You cannot think, you cannot process thoughts, let alone your mood is altered, and I explain to you why. There is synaptic dysfunction and neuronal hyperexcitability when you're stressed. Excitotoxic and glutamate overload is an important mechanism that you need to consider. Glutamate is excitatory. GABA is inhibitory. It calms the brain. What converts glutamate to GABA is vitamin B6 or pyridoxal. So that is the reason why you really need to supplement yourself or get an adequate level of pyridoxine or vitamin B6 to calm your brain. Excessive neuronal excitation leads to synaptic fatigue, and this can cause overloading of the information, clogging in the brain, impairs the cognitive function, and you're not able to think. There's reduced synaptic pruning when you're sleep deprived. Sleep is necessary for the brain to prune unnecessary synapses. It's almost like the dead roots of the orchids. When you're taking care of the orchids after they bloom, they accumulate dead roots that you need to prune. If you don't prune, the orchids will not flower the way you want it to bloom. It's the same with the brain. When you're sleep deprived, you're depriving your brain of that natural mechanism of synaptic pruning. There's impaired hippocampal function when you're sleep deprived. Hippocampus, adjacent to the amygdala, is the center for joy and memory. Amygdala is a center for anxiety, anger, and negative thoughts. When you're sleep deprived, your hippocampus is impaired, and your hippocampus will not be able to function in memory processing and information processing and the feeling of joy. When you're sleep deprived, you'll be more anxious, you'll be more angry, and it would be difficult for you to deal with the stress furthermore. There's ATP depletion and energy deficiency when you have sleep deprivation or when you have stress. It decreases the mitochondrial ATP in the neurons, leading to brain energy deficits and mental exhaustion, most commonly manifested or complained as fatigue. Fatigue is not shortness of breath. Fatigue is just lack of motivation to move, so that it impairs you to move and process things and motivate to do activity. That leads you to have depression and anxiety and loneliness. There's increased reactive oxygen species. Sleep loss promotes mitochondrial reactive oxygen species production and oxygen radicals. This causes oxidative damage to the neurons, furthermore causing the neurons to die. There is inflammation and neurodegeneration when you're chronically sleep deprived. It activates the microglia and astrocytes. Disruptive neurotransmitter balance is also a key in the effect of sleep deprivation. There's dopamine dysregulation, serotonin and melatonin deficiency, and acetylcholine depletion. And that is the reason why when you're sleep deprived, you have the propensity to have craving and lack of control for food that is sweet and the salt or the junk food that you talk about. This leads to metabolic dysfunction, and furthermore, you're micronutrient deficient and deprives your brain to have energy. This eventually will cause fatigue, poor motivation, and reduced reward processing, leads to loneliness, depression. Serotonin and melatonin are deficient when you are sleep deprived. Serotonin is a precursor for melatonin, and they go hand in hand. Chronic sleep loss disrupts this conversion, leading to insomnia, depression, and cognitive fogging. Serotonin is primarily also produced in the gut. That's why what happens in the brain affects the gut. What happens in the gut affects the brain. Acetylcholine depletion is also in operation when you're sleep deprived. Remember, acetylcholine is essential for memory and learning. So sleep deprivation reduces acetylcholine, impairing your memory, your working memory, and problem-solving abilities. There's dysregulation of cortisol and hyperactivity of the hypothalamic pituitary axis when you're sleep deprived or when you're stressed. Sleep loss increases hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis, increasing cortisol levels or the stress hormones. Furthermore, the cortisol increases sugar in your body. Sugar feeds inflammation. More, there will be advanced glycated end products that accumulates in the brain and causing more problem or damage. So how do you alleviate or detoxify your brain? It looks like you really cannot detoxify your brain unless you sleep. Second, you need to avoid sugar. How does sugar appear in your food? Fruit, for example, which is rich in fructose, is usually fed as a natural drink, but it's not a natural dose when you juice it. When you eat fruit, you have 1% fructose usually, the rest is fiber. So avoid juicing fruit. Second, you have to feed your body with fiber, especially cruciferous vegetables like cauliflower, cabbage, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, because the fiber in itself is needed by the microbiome that produces serotonin. The other mechanism is that this fermentation of the fiber feeds the microbiome, producing the short-chain fatty acid like propionate, butyrate, and acetate. So this is not really for you. The fiber is not for you. It is for microbiome that feeds your health. Now, avoid artificial sugar, the sweeteners. It's also excessive caffeine is also needed to detoxify your brain because artificial sweeteners affects or disrupts the gut microbiota and increases microinflammation. Supplements that increases glutathione, such as cysteine-containing vegetables like cruciferous vegetables, is important. Vitamin C from citrus is also something that you can feed your brain. It's not just one supplement, it's not just one vitamin that improves the brain function. Remember, the brain needs oil and water. The good oil, omega-3, is needed for the brain. It improves neuroplasticity. It even improves your mood. Moreover, you cannot think if you're not hydrated well. 8 glasses a day. I recommend lemon water to improve the acidity balance, the acid balance of your gut so that you can absorb the micronutrients. There is some nootropic support for cognitive function. Phosphatidylserine, acetyl L-carnitine, and alpha-GPC. Take, for example, acetylcholine and phosphatidylserine. This is rich in the egg yolk, so breakfast should be part of that with egg yolk or the whole egg. Avocado is rich in that, so breakfast should be rich in those kind of food. Avoid cereal because cereal is rich in sugar and that causes inflammation of your brain. Let's go to the next system, the liver. Liver is a seat of detoxification of many toxins in the body. There are 2 phases of detoxification in the liver, phase 1 and phase 2. In the phase 1 detoxification, the role in phase 1 role is the breaking down of toxins like hormones and medications. It is importance in the bile production and gut-liver connection. In the second phase, you deal with the toxins that are produced in the phase 1. And this is where you need to support the liver with cruciferous vegetables, rich in glutathione and vitamin C, because to detoxify, if you accumulate toxins from the phase 1 and not neutralize in the phase 2, this can be harmful for the liver. Now we talk about fructose that accumulates in the liver. The fructose has no storage. It goes directly to the liver, dumped in the liver, but it causes acute inflammation in the liver, leading to scarring and leading to what the disease called non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. It used to be just alcohol causing this cirrhosis, but nowadays, because of the increase of high fructose corn syrup and accumulation of fruit juices, this has become a problem. So liver detoxification is very easy. Avoid fructose and high processed food. Especially processed food is rich in high fructose corn syrup. Number 2, and imagine the chemicals that are placed there to keep the food looking natural in the counter of the grocery stores. So first thing you need to do is to remove those toxins. Second, eat a lot of vegetables rich in antioxidants. If you're able to detoxify your body and you're not able to detoxify your soul, it will be futile, because what happens in the soul affects your body. The guilt, it affects your sympathetic nervous system. Sympathetic nervous system, overactivity increases inflammation. That's why in Ensino Yasu, Jesus told the monk, tells the priest, go to confession weekly. It's good for your soul and for your body. Now, as a physician, I didn't realize that this could be something physical. And I think it has something to do with the sympathetic overdrive. Examining your conscience every day. You're detoxifying your soul every day. Attend evenings of recollection, because that will rejuvenate and rehash your soul. Annual retreat. It's very important. It's a very good Catholic practice. Every day, I highly recommend meditate, and you meditate the unconditional love of Jesus through his passion. When you do this, it changes the sympathetic overtone to parasympathetic tone, increases your heart rate variability. This will be discussed later in the video about meditation and in the podcast. When you meditate, remember the serotonin that we talk about when you're sleep deprived, the melatonin. This is increased when you meditate. Remember the GABA that is converted from glutamate by B6 to GABA. This is increased when you meditate, including taurine. This calms the brain. It also decreases the epinephrine and norepinephrine, which increases the blood pressure. That's why when you meditate, you decrease the blood pressure, you calm the brain, and you calm the whole system. Detoxification of the whole human being is possible. First, you pay attention to the diet. Avoid the processed food. Avoid the sugar. Something you can give up, sugar. Second, increase your activity, because exercise consumes, increases the expenditure of sugar. Not only that, increases BDNF, which also heals the brain when you exercise. Third, eat well. Eat good vegetables that are rich in antioxidants and vitamins. And last but not the least, meditate. Meditate on the unconditional love of Jesus through his passion, because he was hard on his body, he was hard on his mind, he was hard on his heart for the salvation of mankind. If you like this video, please drop a comment. Please let me know which state you're coming from, or what country you're watching where. Like and subscribe, and please share to those people, your friends, your family members who might benefit from this video. In the next video, we're going to talk about how toxic products in processed food affects the health, and how the Catholic teachings can help you detoxify yourself from the processed food. Till next time, this is Dr. Raul Enad from Cadenza Medical Clinic, Ave Maria, Florida.